Are you a young person in Kenya who is considering come we stay marriage? Are you a person who's already in a come we stay relationship in Kenya? Now, you know what they say, it is better to learn from other people's mistakes rather than your own. A recent ruling by the Supreme Court said that come we stay unions or marriages are not automatically considered marriages just because you've lived together for many years. And before I go further into my story, let us hear a background. Then I share my personal experience with a come we stay marriage and my regrets, my lessons, and what you can do to avoid some of the pitfalls. On Widow School this week, I came across a newspaper article at nation.africa, and this article was by Bran Ocharo. This article was entitled, Come We Stay is Not Marriage, No Matter the Year Spent, Court Rules. This is a ruling by the Supreme Court of Kenya as pertains to cohabiting and come we stay marriages. And this was a very interesting article because it detailed how the Supreme Court judges Philomena Mwilu, Smoking Wanjala, Njoki Ndong'o, Isaac Lenaola, and William Ouko have warned that the doctrine of presumption of marriage is on its deathbed following changes to the matrimonial laws in Kenya. The article went on to say that have you been cohabiting with your man or woman for a considerable period of time with no desire or wish or intention to be within the confines of matrimony, the Supreme Court has bad news for you if you fall under that category. In a precedent-setting decision that may have far-reaching consequences for couples who had pegged their hope on long cohabitation as proof of marriage, the Apex Court has ruled that this may end in premium tears if no evidence is provided to support the presumption of marriage. Supreme Court judges Philomena Mwilu, Smoking Wanjala, Njoki Ndong'o, Isaac Lenaola, and William Ouko have warned that the doctrine of presumption of marriage is on its deathbed following changes in matrimonial laws in Kenya. The court said the presumption of marriage should only be used sparingly where there is cogent evidence to support it. It is becoming increasingly common for two consenting adults to live together for long durations where these two adults have neither the desire, wish, nor intention to be within the confines of matrimony, they said. They went on, where such a situation is evident and there is no intention whatsoever of contracting a marriage, the presumption of marriage must never be made where this intention does not exist. It must always be remembered that marriage is a voluntary union. Thank you for joining me today on this channel. My name is Emma Wanjiko, and I want to give a special shout out to those people who have subscribed to this channel. I do not publicize on social media. You just subscribe just because you feel like the message is resonating with you. Thank you so much. And do feel free to share with other people if you find this helpful. So, as per the introduction, my experience with a come we stay marriage in Kenya. Now, when I met my husband in the year 2010, and I think the excitement of youth and, when love is very green, we decided that we wanted to be together. And by the year 2011, we decided to just move in together in a come we stay marriage. Of course, our intentions were marriage, but, 1 year turned into 2 years, it turned into 3 years. And before we knew it, we had 2 kids. Then we had 3 kids. And time went by so quickly, because at the end of it all, we lived for 10 good years before he passed on in 2021 due to COVID-19. Now, my biggest regrets, of course, is the fact that I thought that we would have an eternity together, which is an assumption. I thought that we had time. We always told our parents, no, we are going to come next year. We want to bring good dowry. We're going to come next year. But you see, it was never meant to be. Now we just became comfortable because we started off as young people looking for resources to have a family and all that. But we became very comfortable or complacent Because when I started raising my kids, it didn't really matter about weddings and marriage. I think I was very comfortable. And let me say that this comfort has costed me now that my husband has passed away. The fact that there was no dowry, the fact that there is no marriage certificate in my union was used as a basis by the in-laws to disinherit me, or their attempts to disinherit me. And that's one of my regrets. Of course, we have cases in the legal system, but the notion that you're not a full wife can come about because of a come we stay marriage. I think we regret, even my husband, as he passed on, I think he regretted not doing things sooner. And therefore, for young people who are thinking of come we stay unions, I would say, number one, don't use money as an excuse. Don't say you don't have money for marriage. Marriage is the cheapest thing if you do it in a very simple way. You can go to the AG's office. You can just go give dowry, give a word to your in-laws. Just use what you have and just make it legal. Because the importance of legality is that you're going to help assist your future kids. You never know what the future will bring. Like us, we were left in turmoil. People were very happy to say that you're not legally married. But thank God, because when there are kids involved, when we've stayed together for 10 years, and of course, there is presumption of marriage, and there is also the intention of marriage, just as the Supreme Court precedent. At least my case holds water. But there are other unions that will just be very chaotic. In cases of divorce or being widowed, when a spouse dies, there are all these legal implications, and many times widows are left to suffer together with their children. Number two, what I'll tell young people is, even if you're in a come we stay marriage, don't overstay. Don't stay for more than 2 years. 2 years is enough time to know each other, to know whether you want to be together forever. Just look for ways to make it legal. If after 2 years you're still together, don't overstay. I think that's the mistake I made. I knew at the back of my mind that, no, maybe we should legalize this thing. But you see, it wasn't such a priority. I wasn't suffering in any way because we were living as husband and wife. But legally, there needed to be something more binding. So it's just don't overstay, not more than 2 years. For some people, it's 1 year. After living with somebody for 1 year, you know very well whether you want to go ahead with marriage or not. And let me also say that there are men who will pretend that they want to marry you. And after a year or two, then you can see their intentions. And if that is not your intention, to be just in an informal relationship, then you just get out and go and do it the right way. So I'm appealing to young people, especially in Kenya, because of this ruling by the Supreme Court. It states that even if you've lived together for many years, they will not be presuming marriage. It's not automatic. And they went ahead to ask the Senate and Parliament to pass the necessary laws so that they can enshrine this in the law, so that people don't just wake up with assumptions of marriage. So my biggest advice is to tell young people, do the right thing. Do things legally. God forbid if you leave a widow. God forbid if you're to pass on before your wife. There are so many legal implications, like in my situation. I have to deal with so many legal things when it comes to property, when it comes to succession. And this can be avoided when we do things right in the first place. So thank you very much for watching Widow School. And I hope you learned one or two things, especially if you're a young person in Kenya looking to enter into marriage. Let me also say that my headgear today is inspired by the wife of the late CS of Education, Magoha. I saw somewhere the way she celebrated the life of her husband, a nice, well-lived life together. She was able to dance in celebration of life, and let's see how that went.